Hi there, Totally Amazing here, the home of scientific knowledge, discovery, research and truth since the 1st of January 2K19, and that is in our way. Slightly. Is it better if I turn that off? No, not really. Okay, what we're looking at today is we have an LG G3 that's stuck in a boot loop. It's also stuck in a charging loop. I only paid £30 for this, but I'm going to show you how to force a charge into that when it won't accept a charge when it's stuck in a charging loop. And what we're going to do is diagnose whether or not the battery is completely kaput as well. For this, let's zoom in and show you what you'll need. Okay, for this we're just going to need a few things. You're going to need your LG G3. You're going to need an approved charger, whether it be for LG or Android or whichever. And an approved charging cable, which is micro USB. You're going to need a multimeter that will measure in the DC range, and you'll need 2 leads, one red, one black, for positive and negative, or line and neutral, whichever the case may be. Additionally, no, not actually essential, but it will make your life easier, you can take some blue tack. This is that sticky tack stuff that you would find for sticking up pictures and notices to walls. And of course some paper and pens. I'm using the back of an envelope and two whiteboard markers. Back of the envelope, quite literally, for back of the envelope calculations. Let's begin. Start by powering on your phone and you'll see the boot loop. As you can see, we're straight into the boot loop. And as you can see, it's just going to keep doing that until either the battery goes flat or the battery becomes destroyed, or we fix the issue. There we go. Now I'm going to show you the problem with the charging loop and how to get round it. What we do is we'll plug our charger in. Now, in a moment, just to confirm that the battery is actually functional, we're going to do a simple test. So what we've done is plugged our charger in. We may actually have to turn the thing off from the switch on the back. Oh no, there we are. We can see now that the charging logo appears and disappears. Basically, that phone is not supplying a continuous charge. That is a problem. So what we're going to do is unplug our micro USB connection, turn the phone over and remove the back cover. I mean, you can hold the phone towards you, it doesn't really matter at this stage, and you're going to expose the battery. And you're going to remove the battery from the handset. Now what I do is when I get them on my workbench, as we'll zoom in and see, there we are, what I do is I just press down on the sides, and if they're swollen in any way, you'll see them rock and there'll be a gap in there, in which case then your battery is trashed. Now this is the time where we're going to take our multimeter leads and we'll put them into the corresponding correct holes. So that's now ready for action, ready for multimeter action. Now what we're going to do is take our blue tack. This makes life a lot easier, and we're going to peel back one side of that. So as you can see, this is completely tacky. Let's just move the lamp away somewhat. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stick our battery to the blue tag. like so. This just makes it easier for when we're holding our test probes on here. Let's just raise this up and zoom in a little more. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set our meter onto volts DC. Let's just pull that here, and as you can see our battery is here. Turn the light on. I don't know whether or not turning that off, no, that's not going to be any better, is it? So if we, ow, just burnt myself on the light bulb there, which is not very clever. Just going to try and get that into a slightly better view. There we are. Okay, what we're going to do now is, written on the battery here, there's going to be a positive sign and a negative sign, and we're going to hold our probes on the corresponding thing, and as you can see, that battery says 3.702 volts. So that battery seems healthy enough. What we now need to do is see if it's going to charge. And now we need to force a charge into it. This is how it's done. So 3.702 is what the original voltage was. So we're going to write that, say, in red. well, whatever it was. Let's just measure it again, just 3.702 or something. Let's just measure it again, just to be absolutely sure. 3.702 is what our voltage is. Let's just show you again. It's fluctuating a little bit, but 3.702. And we write that down on our back of the envelope calculation. Now what we need to do is get that phone to force a charge. This is how we do it. We'll just zoom out. We'll remove our phone from the blue tack and cover the blue tack from stopping it from drying out. And we'll put our phone back into our device and put the cover back on. Now what we're going to do here is we're actually going to make use of a feature that every phone kind of has. Well, mostly. What we're going to do is we're actually going to get this thing to power into a management mode. And there's two ways we can do this. What we can do is on the back we can press the power button and hold the up button simultaneously. Release the power button and keep hold of the up button. We can try that one first. So this should automatically turn itself on, so we're just going to press and hold the the volume up button. If this doesn't work, then we'll try the other way. Okay. Now the other way is what we do is we press and hold the power button and volume down until we get the boot logo, release the power button and press and hold, well, hang on, let me say it again. What we do is when that's booting up, you keep a hold of the volume down button, and then when the logo appears, you release the power button and press and hold it again. So let's try this. So just press and hold it again. It may take a little while to get this. Let's just try it. But it's not going to do it now. Ah, there we go. Right, okay. What we've now got into is the factory data reset. Now I actually have tried that to try and resolve that loop, and it doesn't work. So what we're going to do is we're just going to leave this for a while, because the theory is, while it's like that, it's still going to be pushing a charge to the battery. This is probably the best way on how to charge that device. Now we're going to wait a few moments, Let's just turn our meter off and set this off to one side while we have a little drink. And while we just briefly discuss what we can do as well about the boot loop. Now, about this, the charging loop, that's interesting enough because unfortunately, well, you know, you're not going to be able to charge your battery like that all the time it's doing that. And there's a potential to destroy your battery. What we're doing here is ruling out a potential battery fault anyway. So this isn't just about basically diagnosing a battery fault. We're actually forcing the phone to charge said battery. If the battery was defective, it just simply wouldn't be doing this anyway, as most batteries have preventative overcharging features in them, and they have circuit protection in them in any event, as does the phone. So 3.702 is what we have written down on our back of the envelope calculation. Now about the boot loop, that's interesting in itself because there's a couple of things here that we can do to address the issue. If it transpires that this phone does charge that battery, and we get anything that's higher than 3.702, then the battery is realistically in good health. Now these batteries, I do believe, are rated for around 3.85 volts. That's their nominal operating voltage. And ideally they don't want to be running much below about 1.5 volts. So we're certainly within nominal ranges. Now in terms of the boot loop, there's a couple of things that we can try about that. The next thing we're going to try is we're going to get hold of a laptop computer, download the various LG tools, and then we'll try to basically push a new ROM version onto the phone via the LG phone suite, and basically reset the phone that way. Now, in order to get a stable USB mode, we'll essentially just do what we've done here. Now, there is another mode that we can go into using the press and hold all three buttons, I think it is, followed by volume up. But this, by far, for charging your phone, is going to be the much better way. There we are. It just basically is the factory whole kind of data reset. If you want to keep your data, you just kind of hit no and exit and don't do anything about that. I, however, now think that we should be able to test whether or not we have any charge in that battery, or whether or not it's completely kaput. So what we'll do is, using the volume up and down key, we can select what we want, and the white, where it's white, is what your selection is. So we're just going to keep that on no, exit, and press the power button on the back. That's obviously, there we go. What we'll do is just unplug this and very quickly remove the battery, using the same procedure as we did before. Cover off one side, and now we have our battery. We zoom in again, take our blue tack, stick our battery to our blue tack, like so. That's a much easier way of doing things, I find. I mean, you could use a bench vise or something to grab hold of it or whatever, but I wouldn't do that in case, obviously, you run the risk of perforating the battery. That would just not end well. So here we are. Let's turn our multimeter on again, and we'll hit the light button, and we're looking for 3.726. So it is actually charging that way. 3.7 3.726. So that is actually fairly substantial, from 3.702 to 3.726. That's a fairly substantial increase there. What we can do, if we really wanted to, we could actually leave it in that mode for a little bit longer and increase the amount of charge and voltage that the battery would have. So now we are fairly certain that the battery in that is good, and that's how we've managed to diagnose a battery, to find out whether it's working, and to force it to charge when you're stuck in this situation where it won't charge because it's in a charging loop. Now, just to finalise a couple of things, if the software situation doesn't work, then there is another couple of potential solutions that we have. Let's just zoom out and talk about those. Now, I've been doing electronics for numerous years, and this is how I'm able to discover these kind of little hacks. So if you are stuck in a loop, well, rather than go rushing out and getting a new battery, try this version first, because in any event, before you can reload an operating system and solve a boot loop, you need a fairly charged phone. Now, I need to get around that again because that's obviously going to kill my battery. So let's just get through that problem. There we are. And now we can just leave this to charge up, and we'll deal with that in part 2. But there are a few other things that we can try as well to resolve that boot loop. And one of them that we're going to do is obviously the software. We can try that. If that doesn't work, we can open the phone up, and there are 2 chips in there that we can apply heat to and try and reflow them. One of them is for the main logic chip, and where it stores all of the phone's processing and whatever. It's how the phone essentially works. And the other one is going to be the internal SD card or SD memory. I think they're made by possibly Kingston. It's going to be someone like that, either Kingston or someone or another that manufacture them. I don't really know too much about LG in terms of the G3, but these things are all pretty much similar anyway. If we have to do a reflow, then we can do that by either applying a hairdryer or something or another. But that's something that we'll cross our bridge when we get to that later. What we've had to do here is rule out whether or not that's a battery fault anyway. And of course, we've forced the phone into accepting a charge on that battery. I mean, in the next episode, that's our second reading. In the next episode, I'll take a third one. So that's 1, that's 2. We'll take a third one and maybe a 4th. That will come up in the next episode on this, just to make sure that the battery is performing nominally. Now, battery faults can cause boot loop errors anyway, and there are other channels that will just simply say change the battery. None that really go into things as in depth as I do, hence why you need to like, comment, subscribe, and bang the bell so you know when I put out another video. Leave a comment in the box below, because after all, this is the home of scientific knowledge, discovery, truth and research since the 1st of January 2K19, and I am totally amazing as a you for being on the channel. This is why this channel is the best for this advice. So I'm going to see you anyway in the next episode, where we're going to start addressing the boot loop problem. And we're going to attack that first of all, using a software workaround So that'll be when we fetch out a laptop, notebook computer, we'll attach that device to it and see where we get. Now, until then, lovely viewer, stay totally amazing, and I will see you soon, and hopefully you'll stick with me. See you soon. Catch you in part 2. Ciao.